Hello, Beyond the Gates fans. Happy Friday as we have made it through another week of Beyond the Gates. And today's Friday episode left me wanting to get on here and have some rants, to be honest. This might be one of my more negative reviews of Beyond the Gates because I this week's writing has definitely annoyed me over and over as the week has gone on. And while I do still think this week is far more entertaining than last week, and thankfully stories are actually moving this week, but they're moving in a way that is so plot heavy that it is definitely hurting the characters along the way. And the story that is hurting the characters, in my opinion, is this Leslie, Kat, Eva, Jacob stuff. The investigation story is not working very well. And it's because of the way they're writing it. I just think everyone involved right now has been left looking dumb because they're not doing stuff logically. Every single character involved in it, in my opinion. It starts with Leslie in the first place. Why would Leslie give her jacket to a place that she would know it could be found by Nicole or Kat in the first place? And if she did that, which she did apparently, why then did she keep the helmet and gloves for so long? Why not just get rid of it all? I don't really understand Leslie's decision with that in the first place. And then there's Eva, who decided to move it out of Leslie's apartment. And while she didn't necessarily do it to protect her mother, she did it to have some sort of leverage over her mother. But she has talked about it herself that it would be the first place that the police would look. So the first place that the police would look would be Leslie's apartment, which is smart of Eva. But then why would Eva leave it in the second place the police might look, or Kat in this case, of course, because she's the nosy one, in her own apartment? So if Eva's smart enough to think, well, the police might look the first place they were going to look at Leslie's apartment, why would she not think that they might look in her hotel room? The logic just isn't there. And then today with Kat, who has been insufferable, as I talked about yesterday, Kat breaks into Eva's hotel room, and we'll break it down a little more. The whole Eva and Tomas, or as I like to call him, Thomas, because he has nothing going for him, just a boring vanilla character. They played a part in it today too. But Kat breaks into Eva's hotel room to look around and isn't finding anything. But when Eva shows up with Tomas to find a book, because those two apparently have book love in common, Kat hides under the bed so that they don't find her. And that's where Eva's keeping the stuff. But then Kat does the illogical thing, like apparently every character in the story must do, and takes it out of the hotel room instead of letting Jacob know at least that it's there somehow so that the police can find it and it could actually be like real evidence. So Kat, who supposedly just loves these true crime podcasts, and Kat, who has been portrayed as very smart, does something very stupid here in taking the evidence with her. I just am not understanding any of the characters involved in this investigation storyline because they're not being written as logical characters. They're being written as plot points, and it is a problem. Like, I don't know how they can do this to some of their best characters on the show, suddenly make it so plot heavy that you're hurting the best characters on the show. It's even hurt Leslie at times. She's becoming a little one note, just always scheming in every single scene. We did finally see her become human last week when she did finally shed a tear over Eva. But I just really think that this week has hurt a lot of the characters in this story. Shout out to Kaiwan in the chat per usual. Um, so yeah, I'm just been disappointed with the writing with this investigation the entire week. And as I stated yesterday, the character of a cat is suffering the most because she truly has become insufferable. As for the Thomas and Eva side of things, I've seen more and more people online trying to say that they have good chemistry. They don't. Like, yes, they have more chemistry than Thomas and Kat, but that's like saying, well, I'm not completely broke. I at least have a quarter, but that ain't gonna get you shit nowadays. And what the little chemistry that Thomas and Eva have isn't gonna get us shit any either, because yeah, he can't act. It just comes down to that. And I've tried to give new Ted the benefit of the doubt, and I do think there is potential chemistry with new Ted and Nicole, but I'm still dumbfounded how that was the first character recast and not Tomas slash Thomas. Shout out to Ray Rush in the chat as well. You enjoyed Cat Under the Bed. True. I mean, I didn't necessarily dislike the scenes and Cat overhearing Thomas reject Eva because he just wants to stay friends. So that's going to, I guess, push maybe Kat and Thomas to possibly finally sleep together. But I can't muster up any care for that triangle because there is no chemistry involved. It is very similar to Ashley, Derek, Andre, where there was no chemistry. It's the same exact thing in this storyline. And I'm not going to pretend that it's not the case just because I like Eva and used to like Kat until this past 2 weeks when she's become a one note, insufferable character. Anyway, I had to get that rant out because it was bothering me. The writing for that story has not been good. It's been plot heavy as hell and just it's become really, really bad. I did enjoy, to get to something positive, I did enjoy the movement in the Vanessa, Joey, Doug storyline today. At least that did actually move somewhere where Vanessa not only found out that Doug has a gambling problem and lost $250,000, but also found out that Joey was just using her and that her little sex addiction, where she this time was apparently falling for Joey, was stupid of her. And now Joey might have them, both Vanessa and Doug, trapped. I do want to see where that goes for Vanessa and Doug's marriage because, as I've said this past week, the character of Doug I have started to like more and more, and they can go some interesting directions with him. And I don't know what this really means for Vanessa and Joey either. Let's go into the chat real quick. Ray Rush says, "Cat, give up the cat to Tomas. It's coming. It might be after she overheard him today, because Cat is just has tunnel vision on Eva, and her entire life revolves around that. So maybe now that she knows that Tomas rejected Eva, I think she might actually give it up." Kaiwan says there is no chemistry. Yes, it's true. I agree that there's no chemistry. Ray says the Vanessa and Joey movement in the storyline was needed. It was, because it was getting redundant. Speaking of redundant, the Bill handshaking shit was getting redundant too. That finally moved along today too, with him, I guess, officially having a stroke. And it's another story that I don't necessarily like because, as I've said, I don't really want Bill to become this weakened character. I think Bill should stay this big, bad, ruthless character. I don't know if this whole health scare storyline is to make us like him more, but I already like him as his ruthless self. So I don't really know why this storyline is needed. The twist in the story was the girl that Chelsea ran into a few episodes ago, Madison, who was awkward with Chelsea today when she ran into Chelsea and Naomi at the bar, kind of ignored Chelsea. Chelsea just thinks she's shy. I'm just hoping it's not another dropped storyline for Chelsea's love interest. But it turns out that she is Dr. Montgomery, who will be working on Bill now that he's had a stroke. So I don't know if that's some big shocker, but I guess at least it was some sort of twist for a Friday episode. I'm unsure if Chelsea and Madison have chemistry, but it's mostly because today's scenes with them were written very awkwardly on purpose, I guess. So yeah. Ray Rush says Vanessa is for the streets. I mean, 100%. She is an alley cat. If we're going to keep using the word cat today, she is an alley cat for sure. Kaiwan says that Vanessa is in love with Doug, but loves to cheat on him so much. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily that Vanessa loves to cheat, but she loves sex with men, clearly, as she is an alley cat. I also want to go over some of the comments in yesterday's video. I struck a nerve, I think, where Anita is concerned, even though I stand by all my comments about Anita. Anita was not on today, but let's go over some of these comments from yesterday. Ray, who's in the chat, but yesterday on yesterday's video, you said that somebody did something with Sharon's wig today. It looked a little better. Fair enough. Also said that Anita, Tracy, and Sharon did the fourth member the same way Anita did to Sharon and Tracy. So Anita was right about them getting on their high horse. There's enough blame to go around. I mean, I get it, Ray. It is true. They also played along with kicking Barbara out of the group. But the show has set it up where Anita and Barbara were the best friends, and they were the ones that started the group. And they've also set it up where Anita was the one that liked to take control of the group and was the lead in the group. So I still think most of it falls on Anita. And like I said in the comment yesterday, it's the tiniest violin for Anita. I still don't feel sorry for her. Maybe one day, but that day was not yesterday. And then Curly K said, I've been quietly enjoying your reviews and don't typically comment, but the one thing I don't understand is why you so regularly call Anita a bitch. That seems incredibly harsh to me for someone who, from my perspective, is being portrayed as an accomplished, confident, and fiercely protective matriarch. She is intelligent, outspoken, wealthy, in a seemingly loving and long-term committed relationship with her husband. First of all, sometimes I can be a little crass in my wording. I've come a long way. When I first started this channel, I first started for my own little competition reality shows like The Traitors OCG that you could watch right now. The first 3 episodes are out. But then I started talking about Big Brother, and I used to talk about the other soap operas that are still on the air. I stopped doing that because they're unwatchable. But I used to be a lot more harsh back in the day, in my opinion. So I apologize if I could be a little harsh, but as I said in the comments, it was after the reveal where Anita completely lost me. And you could go back to those videos. Those were my big rants on Anita and Vernon about how fake they are as matriarch and patriarch, because Anita was trash talking the hell out of Eva. And there was a point when Danny called Eva some kind of bitch, and Anita pointed at Danny like that part when it came to Danny calling Eva a bitch. So to me, Anita's fair game. And she was bitchy in the way she was treating Eva. So until I see actual growth from the character of Anita, I'm gonna still talk my shit about Anita. You know, a lot of people hate on Danny online from what I've seen. She's a very polarizing character. People either love her or hate her. I happen to like her. I mean, when she's getting pathetic over Bill, she can be very cringe. But I like Danny. So to me, Anita's the character that I have to trash talk. I'm sorry. That's just what it comes down to. But Curly K, I'm glad you are enjoying my video sometimes, despite my ranting on Anita. And as Sabritha Jennings said in the comments, as far as how Anita did Eva, I agree with you. It wasn't needed, and Eva was never trying to be a Dupree. That was all Leslie pushing Eva and Anita's family. Anita should have told Leslie that instead of Eva. Danny and Anita were just being unnecessarily cruel. I agree with that when it came to the whole Eva situation. Ronald Dobbins said, I'm so tired of Kat. Me too, man. So tired of Kat these past 2 weeks. She's been. Sabritha also says, I'm sick of the writing for Kat. Firstly, I can't stand her classist attitude. She's very stuck up and conceited. I will give her props for being smart and standing up to Leslie. Well, after today, can we even still say that Kat is smart after taking the evidence from the hotel room? I'm not convinced we could still say that about Kat. Miss Wilder says, I agree. They need to get over the Leslie storyline. You know she's going to get away with it. She's one of the main characters. They're not going to put her in jail. Agreed. This investigation could be a much better story than we're getting. I just want to get it over with now. I hope Kat taking the evidence is what gets Leslie off over the next week or two, because the story got to move along from where it's at right now, because the writing is hurting everyone. And as Hemi30 said in the comments yesterday, this episode was okay. The writing needs to be better. Yes. It's wash, rinse, and repeat. I actually dozed off when Vernon was talking to Anita. I appreciate him being supportive, but he needs to find some business. Yeah, Vernon could have a story of his own too. Hemi also said they're making Kat insufferable, and I'm starting to get bored with this entire investigation. Same. I still like the show, but it's getting boring. I mean, overall, I'm still entertained, but I do see the weaknesses kind of starting to add up. Like, why did we recast Ted and not Tomas? And why are we writing every character in the investigation dumb? I would like some better writing. That is all for me today. Love you all joining me in the chat. Kaiwan is saying that the gambling problem was bad, I'm assuming is what you're saying. And Ray Rush is saying that's true. Anita did treat Eva wrong. She did. So that's why I just say Anita's persona is, oh, we have all these charities and we like to help the little men. But then anytime we see Anita in scenes with people she's either screwed over or with Eva, who has had a tough life, whether it was thanks to her mother or not, I just think Anita has been fake. And I won't call her the B word today, but for today only. But she has been fake. All right. That's all for now. See y'all next week for some more Beyond the Gates.